Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something powerful. Words are cheap, but action changes everything. You see, too many people spend their lives talking about what they're going to do. They talk about their dreams, their goals, their plans, but when it's time to move, they freeze. They want the world to believe in them before they've done anything worth believing in. But here's the truth. You don't need to announce your greatness. You need to prove it. The world doesn't listen to your promises. It watches your habits. It watches your consistency, your resilience, your refusal to quit when things get hard. You don't have to tell them who you are. You have to show them. Because when your results speak, your voice becomes thunder. When your actions align with your words, you don't need validation. Your success becomes your evidence. So today, I want to challenge you. Stop explaining yourself. Stop defending your dreams. Don't show them with words. Tell them with results. This is your moment to rise, to turn silence into power, doubt into drive, and action and impact. Because at the end of the day, talk fades, but proof lasts forever. In life, we often find ourselves surrounded by noise. People talk about what they will do, what they plan to achieve, and how great their vision is. But very few actually take the steps to make it real. The truth is, action speaks louder than words because words don't move the world. Actions do. You can spend all day telling people about your dreams, but until you take action, those dreams remain invisible. People don't remember what you say. They remember what you do. Every successful person you admire didn't rise to greatness by making promises. They rose because they acted consistently and courageously, even when no one was watching. When you act, you create proof. It's powerful. You can't argue with results. You can't debate evidence. That's why action carries a different energy. It commands respect. When people see your dedication, your focus, your grind, they feel something different. They see authenticity. They see truth. The most powerful message you can ever send is not a speech, not a quote, not an explanation. It's what you do day after day. Your habits are your loudest statements. Your behavior is your real introduction. Most people get stuck because they think they need motivation to act, but that's not how it works. Action comes first. Motivation follows action. When you take that first step, when you push yourself into motion, your mind begins to build momentum. That's when confidence grows, not from thinking, not from talking, but from doing. Every small action becomes a brick in the foundation of your belief. You begin to realize that your power doesn't lie in what you say. It lies in what you're willing to do when no one believes in you yet. The reason action is so powerful is that it breaks through fear. Talking is safe. It costs nothing. Acting is uncomfortable. It requires risk, vulnerability, and courage. But growth only happens in motion. You can't think your way into progress. You have to move your way into it. Every time you act despite fear, you weaken its hold on you. And eventually your actions begin to build a momentum so strong that fear can't keep up. That's the moment you start to transform from someone who talks about dreams to someone who lives them. Think about it. Every great innovator, athlete, or leader didn't start with the world's approval. They started with action. They didn't announce they were going to change the world. They just did the work, and the world noticed later. When Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team, he didn't go around explaining why he deserved to play. He went back to the court and practiced until his results spoke for him. That's the kind of mindset that separates talkers from doers. There's a power that comes from staying silent and focused while others are busy seeking validation. When you act, when you let your work speak, you don't need to convince anyone of your worth. Your results will echo louder than any speech ever could. People might doubt your words, but they can't deny your results. So stop trying to prove yourself through conversation. Prove yourself through execution. Action is the purest form of communication. It tells the world who you are without a single word. When your results start to show, people will listen differently. They respect you not because of what you said, but because you became living evidence of what's possible. The world doesn't need another person talking about change. It needs someone who acts on it. So take the energy you spend explaining yourself and redirect it into movement. Don't show them what you can say. Show them what you can do. Because in the end, the most powerful statement you'll ever make will not come from your mouth, but from your results. Discipline is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. In a world obsessed with hype where everyone wants quick results, instant success, and overnight fame, discipline stands as the quiet, consistent force that actually builds greatness. Hype is loud. It gets attention for a moment, but it fades fast. Discipline, on the other hand, doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need validation. It's the daily commitment to doing what must be done, even when no one is watching, even when it's not exciting. Even when you don't feel like it. That's what builds credibility, because consistency is the ultimate proof of belief. You can't talk your way into success. You earn it through repetition, patience, and persistence. When you rely on hype, you depend on external energy. You wait for the right moment, the perfect feeling, or the approval of others. But when you operate from discipline, you create your own energy. You don't wait for motivation to knock on your door. You get up and do the work anyway. Discipline means showing up when it's hard, when it's boring, when it's inconvenient. It means holding yourself accountable when no one else does. The truth is, hype can get you started, but only discipline keeps you going when the excitement fades. That's why so many people begin strong but never finish. They were driven by emotion, not commitment. Every great achiever understands this. The best athletes, the most successful entrepreneurs, the greatest leaders, they all share one thing: the power of discipline. They do the small things, the unglamorous things every single day. They understand that success is not about one big breakthrough. It's about doing the right things consistently until the results become undeniable. Discipline builds a rhythm, and that rhythm becomes identity. It's not just something you do. It becomes who you are. When you practice discipline long enough, it starts feeling like effort and starts feeling like truth. Discipline also builds trust. When people see that you're consistent, when they see that your actions match your words, they start to believe in you. They see reliability. They see integrity, because credibility doesn't come from promises. It comes from patterns. You can tell someone you're committed, but if your actions don't match your words, your message loses power. Every day you choose discipline, you reinforce that credibility not just in the eyes of others, but within yourself. You start to trust your own word. You start to believe that when you say you'll do something, you'll actually do it. That kind of self-trust is priceless. It's what gives you confidence to take on bigger challenges. The beauty of discipline is that it's available to everyone. You don't need to be talented, rich, or lucky. You just need to be consistent. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing something purposefully every day. Discipline compounds. One day of effort might not show much, but weeks, months, and years of disciplined effort can change everything. The world might not notice right away, but eventually results will make the noise for you. People often chase motivation, but motivation comes and goes. Discipline is what stays. It's what gets you out of bed when you're tired, what keeps you focused when distractions are loud, what pushes you forward when the world tells you to stop. It's the silent engine behind every success story. You may not see immediate results, but discipline guarantees eventual success, because consistency always wins in the long run. So stop chasing the rush of hype. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Build discipline. Build routines that push you forward no matter how you feel. Let your consistency speak for you, because in a world full of talkers, the one who stays disciplined becomes unstoppable. Hype fades, applause ends, but discipline, it builds legacies. Promises are easy to make, but persistence is what turns them into reality. We live in a time where people talk a lot about their potential, their goals, and what they're going to achieve. They speak of big dreams and powerful intentions, but most stop there. The truth is, words don't build success. Persistence does. You can promise the world that you'll do something, but until you follow through, your promises are nothing but noise. What separates achievers from dreamers is that achievers keep going long after the excitement has faded. They don't depend on the energy of the moment. They depend on their inner drive to persist through every challenge that comes their way. Persistence means you refuse to quit when things get hard. It's the fire that keeps burning even when no one believes in you. You see, promises can make you feel good temporarily, but persistence makes you grow permanently. Every time you push forward in the face of obstacles, you build strength, resilience, and confidence. You train your mind to see failure not as a signal to stop, but as a sign to keep going. That's the difference between people who talk about success and those who actually experience it. The ones who persist don't look for shortcuts or easy wins. They're willing to endure the struggle because they understand that the process is what builds power. When you rely only on promises, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. You make declarations in moments of motivation, but when resistance comes, your words mean nothing if your actions don't back them up. Persistence doesn't need an audience. It doesn't wait for validation or encouragement. It's quiet, it's steady, and it's relentless. It's what happens when you're tired, but still show up. When you've failed, but still try again. When everything around you says stop, but something inside you says keep going. That's the mindset that builds unshakable confidence. Because every time you push through pain, every time you rise after a setback, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. People who live by persistence don't need to tell others what they're going to do. They show it. Their consistency becomes their testimony. Over time, their results start to speak louder than any promise could. That's when people start noticing, not because of what was said, but because of what was done. Persistence creates credibility. It's the reason why we respect those who've walked through fire and still kept moving. We see their scars as symbols of strength, not weakness. Because we know they didn't just talk about success, they earned it through relentless effort. Persistence is also what gives meaning to your promises. When you persist, your word becomes powerful because people know you follow through. You become someone who delivers, someone who can be trusted, someone whose actions match their intentions. That's real character. It's not built in moments of comfort. It's forged in moments of struggle. Every time you persist, when others quit, you elevate yourself above average. You separate yourself from the crowd because most people stop when it gets hard. But those who persist understand that the pain of effort is always smaller than the regret of giving up. The road to success will always test you. There will be failures, rejections, delays, and doubts. But those moments are not there to stop you. They're there to shape you. They're there to see how bad you really want it. Persistence is the answer to every setback. When life pushes you down, persistence is what helps you stand up one more time. When your plan falls apart, persistence is what makes you build a new one. It's the difference between a wish and a destiny. So stop promising and start proving. Let your actions define your character. Let your persistence become your language. Because in the end, success doesn't come to the ones who talk about it. It comes to the ones who refuse to give up on it. There is a quiet kind of strength that doesn't need to shout, a power that grows in silence and reveals itself through results. Let silence be your strategy and success be your proof. In a world where everyone is eager to announce their every move, the person who stays silent and focused gains an edge. Silence protects your vision while others waste energy explaining theirs. It keeps your goals safe from doubt, negativity, and distraction. When you choose silence, you shift your energy from talking about what you're going to do to actually doing it. And when you finally arrive, your success speaks with a volume that no words ever could. Too often, people seek validation before they've even started. They want others to see their potential, to believe in their dream, to give them permission to act. But the truth is, the world doesn't reward announcements. It rewards execution. Talking gives temporary satisfaction, but silence gives lasting strength. When you keep your plans private, you protect your momentum. You avoid the pressure of expectations and the noise of opinions. You stop wasting time defending your dream and instead use that energy to build it. Silence isn't weakness, it's discipline. It's the art of holding your focus while others are distracted by their need for attention. When you operate in silence, you remove the noise that feeds self-doubt. You start listening to your own intuition instead of outside voices. You begin to see that progress doesn't need to be broadcast, it needs to be built. Every small step forward, every private victory, every quiet moment of hard work adds up to something powerful. The most successful people understand this. They don't waste energy explaining their goals. They pour everything into achieving them. They know that when success finally comes, it won't need an introduction. It will speak for itself. Success earned in silence has a purity to it. There's no pretense, no performance, just authentic effort and growth. You learn to love the process, not the applause. And that's where true mastery begins. Because when you stop performing for the world, you start performing for your potential. You start working not to prove people wrong, but to prove yourself right. You develop a deeper kind of confidence, the kind that doesn't depend on external validation. That's what makes your success undeniable. The best part about letting success be your proof is that it disarms every critic. You don't need to argue with doubters. You don't need to defend your choices. You don't need to respond to negativity. Your results will do that for you. People might question you in the beginning. They might underestimate you. But once your success appears, silence turns into power. The same people who doubted you will start to ask how you did it. And the truth will be simple. You stopped talking and started building. There's also a deep sense of peace that comes from this approach. When you're not constantly trying to prove yourself, you free your mind from unnecessary noise. You move with purpose, clarity, and strength. You become less reactive and more intentional. You learn to trust the process even when no one else sees it. The journey becomes yours not for show, not for approval, but for growth. And in that growth, your success finds meaning. So hold your silence with pride. Let others talk about what they plan to do while you work in the shadows, shaping your destiny. Let them doubt you, let them overlook you, because when your time comes, your success will shine so bright that it won't need words to explain it. Remember, noise fades, attention shifts, but proof lasts forever. Stay silent, stay focused, and let your results roar louder than any words ever could. Criticism and doubt are two of the most powerful forces you will ever face on your journey towards success, but they don't have to break you. They can build you. The truth is, no one escapes judgment. The moment you start moving, people will have opinions. Some will question your motives, others will doubt your ability, and a few will even hope you fail. But how you respond to that doubt determines everything. You can let it weaken you, or you can let it fuel you. Every word of criticism can become the fire that pushes you to go harder. Stay focused and prove through your actions that you are far stronger than anyone expected. When people doubt you, they are simply revealing their own limitations, not yours. Most people can't see beyond their own level of belief, so they project that limitation onto you. They tell you it can't be done because they couldn't do it. They say it's impossible because they never tried. But if you allow their doubt to define your direction, you'll end up living by their fears instead of your vision. The powerful thing to remember is that criticism doesn't mean you're wrong. It often means you're doing something worth noticing. People don't criticize the ones standing still. They criticize the ones moving forward. So if people are talking, it means you're doing something right. Turning criticism into fuel is about transforming pain into power. It's about using negativity as motivation to prove to yourself, not to them, that you can rise above it. Every great achiever has done this. When they were told they couldn't make it, they used those words as energy to push harder. They didn't get angry. They got better. They didn't fight back with words. They fought back with results. That's what it means to turn doubt into determination. It's about saying, thank you for reminding me why I started. You take that negative energy, redirect it, and convert it into focused effort. There's a moment in every journey where you will feel misunderstood, underestimated, and alone. That's when the temptation to quit becomes strongest. But that's also where growth happens. The criticism you receive is like pressure. It can crush you if you resist it, but it can also shape you if you embrace it. Diamonds form under pressure. Champions rise from rejection. Every insult, every no, every moment of disbelief can become a building block if you choose to respond with persistence instead of pain. Criticism also teaches you emotional control. It tests your patience, your humility, and your focus. When you learn to stay calm in the face of negativity, you gain mastery over yourself. You stop reacting emotionally and start responding intelligently. You no longer need to prove yourself through words because your results will speak. You stop letting others dictate your mood or your motivation. That kind of emotional discipline turns you into a force that can't be shaken. People might try to discourage you, but their words will only push you further. Doubt, too, is a gift in disguise. When others doubt you, they challenge you to strengthen your belief in yourself. If no one questions you, you might never realize how powerful your conviction truly is. Doubt forces you to look inward, to reconnect with your purpose, to remind yourself why you started. It becomes a test of faith, not in others, but in your own potential. When you learn to keep moving despite doubt, you develop an unstoppable mindset. So instead of running from criticism, let it light a fire inside you. Let every word of doubt remind you of what you're fighting for. Transform every negative comment into a reason to rise higher. The next time someone says you can't, smile and say nothing. Just work harder, because when your results show up, they won't need an explanation. Your success will silence every critic and turn every doubt into a story of resilience. Remember, the strongest people aren't the ones who never face criticism. They're the ones who turn it into their greatest source of strength. Becoming the example others talk about begins with a decision to stop talking about what you'll do and start becoming the kind of person who lives it. The world doesn't need more speeches about success. It needs living proof of it. People are inspired not by words, but by examples. When they see someone who turns struggle into strength, pain into purpose, and dreams into action, they don't just listen. They feel it. To become that example, you must stop chasing recognition and start building character. You have to embody the lessons you preach and live in a way that others can look at and say, if they can do it, so can I. This isn't about perfection. It's about authenticity. People don't follow flawless leaders. They follow real ones. They follow those who keep going when it's hard, who show courage when fear is loud, who stay committed when others quit. To become the example, you must be willing to go first, to take the risks others avoid, to walk the path others doubt, and to stay consistent even when no one is watching. Your actions become the blueprint for others to follow. You can't just talk about integrity, you must live it. You can't just talk about perseverance, you must show it through your daily grind. Every action you take either builds your reputation or destroys it. When you choose discipline, when you choose effort over excuses, you begin to shape a story worth remembering. People may not tell you they're watching, but they are. Someone out there is studying how you handle pressure, how you react to failure, how you rise after a fall. You never know who you're inspiring just by showing up, by keeping your head high, by refusing to quit. That's what it means to become the example, living with the awareness that your behavior has power beyond what you can see. The people who truly make an impact are not the ones who spend their time proving themselves. They're the ones who spend their time improving themselves. They let their success speak for them. Their presence commands respect, not because they demand it, but because they've earned it. They've shown consistency, resilience, and heart. And that's what others remember, not the words, not the hype, but the effort. When people talk about them, they don't mention what they said, they mention what they did. Becoming the example also requires humility. It's about realizing that your journey isn't just about you. It's about what your growth can inspire in others. When you rise, you give others permission to rise too. When you keep going despite challenges, you remind others that it's possible. Your success becomes a mirror in which others can see their own potential. And that's far more powerful than any speech or motivational quote could ever be. You're not just living for yourself. You're setting a standard. There's also a deep fulfillment in becoming the example. You start to see that real success isn't about attention. It's about impact. It's about knowing that your actions, your habits, your story can shift someone's mindset. The moment you start living with that awareness, your life gains purpose beyond personal achievement. You stop chasing applause and start chasing growth. And the irony is, when you stop trying to impress people, that's when you truly inspire them. So stop saying what you'll do. Start becoming who you say you are. Let your consistency make the noise. Let your work ethic tell your story. Let your results introduce you before you even speak. When people see your discipline, your perseverance, and your humility, they'll talk, not because you asked them to, but because your life speaks louder than your words ever could. Be the reason someone believes they can keep going. Be the living proof that effort, courage, and patience pay off. That's what it means to become the example others talk about, not the one who speaks, but the one who shows what's possible through the way they live.